Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another set of reactions, this time from the developer of the game that I'm going to be reacting to the OST of. This is Heretic Squad, and specifically these two songs within them that apparently aren't really related, but Destroyer sent them to me personally and was like, hey, I want you to listen to these. So I'm going to. And I am going to be fair as well that I don't give any special treatment to people who request stuff, so if I notice something sounds weird, I will be saying so. Just because they paid to have me react to these does not mean that they paid for my good opinion, you know? I'm very honest with everything, so if I hear something weird, I will say so, but I won't know if I don't listen. So without further ado, let's go! These were uploaded by somebody named Masked, so I don't think that that's Destroyer unless they have a musical alias I'm just unaware of. It might just be the developer of the game and this was commissioned by somebody else. Or I guess from someone else. Kind of giving dark wave. Yep, kinda. It's right in that pocket. Okay. I wasn't really expecting an organ, but it works. The dark wave energy is sharing space nicely with the organ. Both very intense sounds, so it works out. So far, I don't know if I'm loving the snare sample. It just sounds a little bit kind of slappy. But it's not necessarily bad either. I think it's just mixed a little flat, like kind of settles just in the mid-range, mids and lows, and that's it. It doesn't sound like there's too much crack to it, which this genre kind of does and doesn't have sometimes. Ooh, a shift. Okay. See, the movement here isn't bad. It's just kind of keeping things moving. It's not sitting on any one section for too long. See, this is kind of neat. Like this synth, I suppose, it just sounds kind of distorted. That's a cool sound. I like that. See, a little bit of sound design goes a long way. Just like that little, like, tink that was in there. Same thing. That. Doesn't have to be a lot. It's like the punch here on the kick. Really, really nice. It just sits really well in that one spot. It's fine elsewhere, but in that one section, it's just really punchy and noticeable. Yeah, I mean... I do like this minor drop in here. That's always neat. It going back up and spreading that chord open. It's a good adjustment. It's a little bit more, I mean, like dark wave is dark wave. It's got a little bit of horror to it. So this kind of adds to it. I mean, is that the Psycho? Is that like a reference to Psycho? That sting up there? If so, that's clever. Well, I mean, yeah, not too bad. I think I said a lot of what I was going to say in this section already, since I was kind of yapping during that video a little bit more than usual. But overall, I'd say a solid like 7 out of 10. That wasn't too bad. The mix had a little bit of like some things to be desired, but that's just personal stuff. I've always preferred something that's a little bit more crispy, but in this genre especially, you don't necessarily need that, and it can sound fine without it. And I think this song definitely falls in that category of just sounding pretty decent. Would I personally add a little bit more to the high range? Definitely, just in my own way. I think that that feels a little bit better, messing with those frequencies and making those nice and clear, because it just, to me, that high area is where the clarity comes out. And if you're sitting too much in this mid and low mid range, like this mix seems to be, it's fine, but also you just miss so much of that, like the crispiness that really pulls people's ears in, even if it's a different thing. Like, it doesn't have to be the drums doing that. It can be another synth up there. And that's like, I heard that, like what I think is a Psycho reference at the end there. That was kind of sitting up there. It was like grazing that top line, and it was very notable and noticeable. So I think that works out really well, but it's just that the rest of the song was kind of lacking in that area of the mix. But other than that, the song was fine. I mean, I like that half step down that it was doing. Again, kind of just leaning more into that like horror adjacent sort of sound, because those are these things that make you go, ooh, like, what is that? That feels wrong compared to the rest of the chords we were just hearing. And then it spreads it open again. It keeps things kind of going into a more, what felt like a major, might have been a minor, but either way, a full chord. And it was just like, oh, okay, I see that adjustment, that starting up here, going just a little down and then back up like a full step. Like, that's a good thing to just kind of wake the brain up a little bit. So good on the production there, good on the composition there, but I got to hear what this other one sounds like. So let's get to that, shall we? I mean, he did say these weren't related. There's that sample again, though. That like tink sound. That metal clank. So good on the producer for keeping like some sort of consistent element between different songs, even if they aren't necessarily related. It's good for thematic constants to do that. And still in that dark wave space, which I kind of figured it would be, but a little bit more energetic, definitely. Definitely feels more like a chase sequence than the other one, which felt more atmospheric comparatively. And we got that lead from that last section. That was doing what I was saying in the last section, where it's sitting on top. I like this break in here too. Just cuts up the monotony of the song up to that point. Keeping things alive. You don't want things to get too stagnant. Yeah, see, like this synth, it's sitting up there. It's taking up that room on the top. And that arpeggiating bass line's just doing its job too. It's like noise floor synth. They're like really distorted one. That's nice, good texture. I know I'm basically like listening to a loop at this point, but I always love hearing different parts of the song second time through. You can always hear a little bit more. They focus on different spots. I really like this arpeggiating bit on the bottom here. It's just hectic. It's just going. Ooh. Hey, wait a minute. You can't bring a halftime in out of nowhere like that. I wasn't prepared. Oh, shit. That heavy distortion there, too. Okay, that one was better. I mean, they're both fine, but that one did everything that the other song did better. So pretty much what I already said. That song was just the first song with better attention to every detail. Every critique I had about the first one was solved by this one. And just because it was a different feel and different energy, and that halftime did not have any weight on that opinion, I was already thinking that. While I do loves me a good halftime, it's not like it's a requirement for me to think that the song is better because it included it. The song itself was just doing everything that I wanted from that first one and filling those spaces and just filling in those blanks where I thought that they existed. For the mix, I still think it's very similar, where it's like heavy in the low mids, and that's again fine, because this time he had all the stuff on top. That like lead synth, it wasn't there all the time, but for the majority of the song it was, and it filled in that space not very nicely. You know, like it was there. And the first one, it didn't have as much of that, so I was missing something in my ears, and this one kind of filled that space. Overall in the mix, I would say I still would prefer it a little bit cleaner, but that just kind of comes down to both personal preference as well as experience of the producer. I don't know what their preferences are. Everyone likes a little bit of a different thing. Personally, I like them a little bit more clean. I feel like the mids here are still kind of squishy, I suppose is the best way to say it. But by no means does that mean it's a bad song. And overall production is still very solid. It's just down to personal preference at that point. I loves me some good, clean, heavy sound design stuff that's super crispy and just bouncing everywhere. I like a wide mix, for example. This didn't have as much width as it did cranked up the reverb, which is kind of something a lot of people do when they hear we need to make room. They add reverb and crank that shit up really hard, when in reality they could just pan things a little bit better. There was some of that. I could hear it, especially in the that like clanking sound. I feel like that was panned a little bit farther this way maybe, but that might just be the reverb kind of bouncing around too, because it does have that effect, and that's why people get those confused. When people say I need a wide mix, they crank reverb instead of paying attention to the physical location of something in the mix, which is what panning does. So a little bit of that maybe, but that's really the only production thing I would critique on it. Otherwise, not a bad soundtrack. I think out of these two songs, I definitely like the second one more, but I think they're still both perfectly serviceable as they are, and I think that this soundtrack sounds pretty good. So, you know, good on Dead Destroyer for having a good soundtrack. Again, I don't know if this is Deadstroyer's songs themselves or if it was somebody they hired. That was never clarified, but I'm not really too picky, and either way, I'm just giving my opinions here. So if you like this video and you want to request something else, by all means, drop it in the comments below, and I will do my best as always to get to those. Or if, like Deadstroyer did, you want to guarantee that I listen to something, you can always go to my Patreon or my YouTube memberships. There's a tier that will force me to listen to whatever you want. Doesn't matter who it's by, what it's from, if it's good, bad, none of that matters. You can even obviously request stuff from your own stuff. It doesn't matter to me. That's why it's a guarantee. But if you don't want to do any of that, maybe you just want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!